I won't make this section like PG-18 or anything, but it is something to consider. I've read a couple of books on spirituality, and one of the practices that seems to be like of importance seems to be making love, not just like basic sex that you've heard of, that you've seen on porn, or that you might have had with your girlfriend already. You go from having normal sex to having sex where you focus on like merging together and kind of almost imagining that you're one person, that you've combined as a whole. And the way that you start this, I can't tell you advanced tactics, but I can tell you the way to start, which is super interesting. And it is to unkink some blocks that we might have to be able to make love properly. From an early age, there's been blocks placed onto our sexuality, our physical body, our emotional state, our psychology. And these things have actually made it harder for us to like genuinely be in love with our partners. So this, what I'm talking about isn't like degeneracy. This is something that you'd want to practice with your wife, right? So that you'd really get like a strong tie to her. So even if you know you're not like a degenerate, even if you're like a strong, convicted Muslim, you'd want to watch this because you'd want to be able to practice this when the time is there. But the saddening truth is, if you've watched porn for years, you've largely lost your ability to do this. The concept of being a teenager who's watching porn, what is it? It's shy. It's dark. It's away in your room. You're not making any noises. You often you feel kind of naughty and restricted, and you feel quite shameful because you're watching other people. You're watching something you shouldn't watch, and that's a feeling of shame. And you start to associate these feelings with sexuality from a very early age. You start to death grip your penis, and so you lose sensation in there. You shallowly breathe, or in fact, you kind of hold your breath when you usually masturbate. We practiced this wrong way of making love for 10 years, for what, 1,000 times, maybe more, probably about 5,000 times we practiced. They say oh, it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. We mastered the skill of masturbation, but masturbating in the sort of normal porn focused way starts to really deteriorate your ability to actually make love properly. So the first big tip that I can give you is to be able to breathe properly. What you'll find, if you're very new to this, you won't feel this at all, right? So you won't feel anything significant, but let me just tell you of what you should do for the rest of your life. You want to focus on really breathing so deeply so that your breath goes from your nose all the way down as low as possible, down the front of your body towards literally your genitals. You want to see where you can feel it up to. So if you do this with me right now, take a big, sort of deep breath through your nose. Where do you feel it kind of stop? I felt it just below my belly button. Not good enough. The kind of deep breaths we need to be taking should literally genuinely move our balls. So if you, it's kind of weird, but if you want to do this, if you just want to look at your balls for a second, if you're being honest with yourself and not twitching yourself on purpose, you probably won't see it. The way that you'll see, okay, I'm going to tell you what to do now. If you straighten out your back a little bit, sit up a little bit straighter. In fact, it's a lot easier if you stand up. Sitting seems to be really bad for this, which I always just think, isn't that a weird coincidence that we were made to sit down in shitty chairs for 80 years straight in school, but whatever. What you want to do is take more of a forceful breath and push the air into your balls. And it's just about the last part. If you can really breathe it in, it's the last part. And this is super hard because you're not going to do this 24/7. But the idea is we need to be taking much deeper breaths than we currently are. These shallow little half breaths where our stomach doesn't even rise are very problematic. This is very interesting, right? So the book that I use is my guidebook to life, The Way of the Superior Man. There's a passage in there which says, the principal bodily key of mastering the world and women is to maintain a full and open front of the body. And you do this by breathing fully. Think about that. The principal bodily key, the main thing we can do with our body is to be able to just be open in the front of our bodies. And we do that with our breath. This is the most important thing that you could use your body for, in the world, apparently. How interesting is that? Open up the front of your body. Think about all the shit that we've done, this hunched over posture that's been closing our bodies down. Do the exact opposite. Sit up straight, chest out, shoulders back. Breathe. Let the flow of breath go down deeper and deeper and deeper over time. Trust me when I say that this is a long process. I've been doing this for, I don't know, about a solid year is when I first learned like about this practice, and it's only in the last few months that it's really taken off because I've really like been focused on it a lot more, reminding myself. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm just going to motivate you. When you learn to breathe properly, you can have sex for as long as you want. Like you don't need to bust. You can literally choose when you want to. So there's sometimes, not always, but there's sometimes I can last for as long as I want now. Like genuinely hours. This is like your God-given right, and it's been taken away from us because of the shitty modern world. You must be able to breathe properly, especially when it comes to having sex and being like sexually stimulated. You'll find that when you are about to have sex, when you're about to enter like a sexual situation, you will absolutely start to hold your breath or to breathe shallowly. When that happens, you've almost got to like let your stomach relax and breathe more deeply into that. So all of this is so that when you do really want to level up your love with this woman that you're about to have sex with, you'll be able to like almost breathe love into every part of your body rather than being mentally sort of constrained with like fascination or, you know, like literally with this obsession of needing to ejaculate. Most guys literally will have sex in two ways. Either one, they'll be mentally fantasizing, or two, they'll be obsessing over like the feeling of ejaculation. And this is like that. This is like literally level 0 sex. This is like literally as bad as your sex life could be. Porn stars and all this stuff, none of them know this. If you want to hear like good sex advice, you don't want to hear it from like real world people. You want to hear it from spiritual people. The book, The Way of the Superior Man, chapter 46 can help you there. You liked this video, so go and watch the full guide because it took me weeks to make and it will genuinely change your life. It's popped up as a card. Go click on that right now. It's also a link in the description. Go click on that right now.